Mr Chair.
Call Stuart Nash.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. I'm just going to take a very short call on this. I just have a couple of questions. Normally what happens with these tax bills is they go to FEC. We've talked about the very good reason why this isn't going to FEC, but the reason I mention that, Mr Chair, is because what happens at Select Committee, as you yourself are well aware, Mr Chair, is members get a chance to talk to officials around why certain things have been drafted and why they're there and why they're not. So I suppose in this circumstance I just have a couple of questions, and that is, if we look at Part 1, Clause 4, and we're talking about CZ23 of the Income Tax Act. This is an amendment to the Income Tax Act 2007, and page 3, sub F, and it says we're talking about income that is exempt income, and it says is available to another. So income is exempt, and may I quote, if it is available to another employee who is not an associated person of the employer. I understand that. And is or was immediately before the Canterbury earthquake of full-time employment with the employer, and if the employee is an associated person of the employer. So I suppose what I'm asking here is, how will the IRD actually police this, or how will they confirm that in fact something that was given to one employee was open to all employees? It might be a very easy test, I'm not too sure, but I suppose what I'm asking here, Mr Chair, is a little bit of clarification that this won't be so onerous that a lot of business owners just throw up their hands and go, oh goodness me, we want a little bit of light relief. That's why we went to the IRD. The fiscal cost of this is only $3 million, so in the scheme of things, it's not much. But what we don't want is legislation that is pretty onerous. The other point that I would like to ask is, if we go down to subpart 2 there, extension of exemption, and B, less than, so we're talking about exempt income here again, less than or equal to $3,200 in total if the income is in a form other than accommodation. Now, I may be wrong here, totally wrong, Mr Chair, but I suspect what will happen is once this legislation is passed, there will be a lot of businesses that try and get a hold of this, because they'll want to know, the status of what they've given, or the status of their requirements in terms of division to the IRD. And they'll look at this and go, oh, shivers, other than accommodation, well, what does that mean? And less than 3,200, oh, shivers, how am I going to define this? Or how am I going to account for this? And I suppose where I'm coming to on this is a very small bill, and I just wonder if it's practical, and it's a question, it's not a suggestion, it's a question, if in fact somewhere in the back there may actually be a definition of what accommodation is. Because again, I'm not too sure of how many employers provided accommodation to their employees, or I'm not too sure how many employers have actually offered goods to the value of 3,200 or maybe even over. So it's really just a clarification, a lot of this, because one of the points that was made in the bill, well, in the purpose of this Act, is to actually provide a level of clarification for businesses that have actually donated to the people of Christchurch. And it's very important. I mean, we all know this. It is important that tax legislation is easy to understand. I suspect that this legislation may be accessed by more people than would usually access tax legislation, but I could be wrong there. And I suppose we could go through this. I mean, if we were going to really draw this out, we could go through this and pick all these out. But as mentioned, I'm just a little bit concerned that there may be room to expand on some of the definitions in this bill. Thank you very much.